Today, we are gathered here to demand four things. That charges be brought upon both the officers that murdered Amir Locke and the ones that shot Gregory Smalls here in Springfield. We also need to demand an end to no-knock warrants, not only in our community, but in every community across the United States. And finally, we need the demilitarization of, again, not only this community's police department, but every community's police department. Because as people across this country are struggling to afford food, the police do not need to own a goddamn tank. And out of all these issues that we are facing today, there is one common denominator, and that is the police themselves. That is not an accident. The police exist to cause these problems. They do not do it by accident. They are not incompetent. They are directly malicious towards these communities. So we need to let them know that we are not going to take their bullshit anymore. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here today to speak in regards to Amir Locke's horrible and injustice killing, the lynching of 2022. Now, if we can go back a few years, maybe 100 or two, we can recognize in history the many of lynchings that have happened to black and brown people in our community that was documented as okay. Currently, I am thankful to say that with video recognition, we are getting more information in regards to how the death of our black and brown bodies are recorded repeatedly. Thank you for being here to support the mission of strength and justice. I have a poem for you today called Supremacy Porn. I hope you enjoy it. He touts the laws, undressing his flaws. Without any pause, they watch with applause. For those who don't and for those who won't, he has dug a moat and sits in his boat. In the tempest of the storm, he is safe and warm. No worries of scorn, supremacy porn. His lyrics are foul, a spiritual scowl. Talks about power like he shouldn't cower. It's taken years to distill that the past is instilled. The sight is revealed that we will never be healed. He is and they are cognizant, and so is everyone after it. It's simple to readjust that they don't give a damn about us. We pass every hurdle, broken every glass bubble, shown our hustle, still having to curdle. Waves of waves crashing, receding and emaciating. Our boys are still vying and dying, charged 35 years without even trying. Systems orchestrated, lies inundated, defective yet replicated, untrust reciprocated. The vine of spines from RNA lines connected by design and affixed with the cosign. We see he is admonishable, yet the idea is so surmountable. It makes us fear the abominable, that he cannot be held accountable. White flower. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this poem.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Tahirea Brooks. I am not, I haven't spoken in a very long time. I'm usually behind the scenes. But this was a subject a long with a lot of other subjects that I've grown up around, systematic racism and no-knock warrants, that really touched my heart. Hello, my name is Tahirea Brooks, also known as T. I don't consider myself to be pro-black. I consider myself to be revolutionary black. So that means that I've come here to get shit done.
Yes!
What is a no-knock warrant? A no-knock warrant allows for the police to legally violate your human rights in order to secure property in most cases. Let me repeat that. A warrant that allows officers to breach your home in the middle of the night to secure things. And apparently, these things are more important than the lives of the officer or the citizen that it puts in danger. 22-year-old Amir barely awoke to officers kicking the couch as he slept, and no warning at all. He was killed within 14 seconds of officers breaching his home. Amir was killed by the system that oftentimes and unfairly targets minorities. The no-knock warrant has proven to be an absolute abuse of power. It's a lie that no-knock warrants increase safety. How? How does it increase safety? Because it absolutely does not. We demand that no-knock warrants be removed from policy, as there is no evidence more important to collect than the loss of human life, unless it's to the detriment of human life itself. End no-knock warrants now.
Yes!
Thank you.
So there's an issue that I'd like to speak about so that there's no confusion on the matter, and that is the nature of the police militarization that we are opposing. When we're talking about the police, we are not talking about any one person, or even necessarily any group of people. No one is saying that any one person in these buildings is responsible for the whole of police misconduct. There are specific instances of specific people killing specific people that need to be reprimanded, but those are things that are criminal. But what I want to talk about is the militarization of the police and who it serves, because that's something that's, I feel like it's a bit misunderstood. The thing about the police is that they are trained malfeasantly. They are trained to go to their gun at the first, most immediate opportunity. They are trained to use violence as a method of control rather than a method of protection. This isn't just me making something up. This is how they act. There's a man named David Grossman, who is responsible for the training of very nearly every police officer in this country, either directly or indirectly. David Grossman has either trained every officer in this country has either been trained by David Grossman or been trained by someone who was trained by David Grossman. And David Grossman says some really wild, out there shit. He says that police officers have been ordained by God to do violence against people. He has said that the police, that there are three kinds of people in the world. There are sheep, there are wolves, who are predators, and there are sheepdogs, who differentiate between the two. And the sheepdogs are the police. The militarization serves the purpose of letting them do that sorting out. But to what end? Is that for our benefit? Is that for the benefit of the people? I think we've seen that that's not the case. The continuing, escalating violence that we see from police precincts is not for us. It is for them. They do violence for them. They say that it's to keep them safe. But what about us? Do we have to be sacrificed for their good? I don't know. It just bugs me. That's all I've got to say about that.
That's real.
Can we get on?
Hi, all. My name is Eddie Pratt Jr. First off, before I get into any kind of naming off in any titles for as arbitrary as that is, I am a black man first and foremost. That grew up a black boy, that a society like this told me that I was a man well before I was able to buy cigarettes or something to drink. It took me a minute to actually look at that footage about what happened to Amir Locke. Mostly because, like anyone else, I'd been constantly traumatized by the amount of Black death on my screen for the last couple of years. It's harmful to my mental health. And so I try to keep going on day to day, but I can't ignore it. I don't have that type of choice. Amir Locke didn't deserve to die. But too many times, in too many places, do we constantly see a police officer taking the place of due process that is supposed to be guaranteed to every single American, regardless of their color. People like me don't get the benefit of the doubt. All we get is the doubt. And all they get is the benefit, it seems. In every municipality, they have almost half the budget. They have all this money. But the same people that they're, encountering, no knock warranted, don't see a fraction of that. And the wage gap is representative. But yet these people, with their implicit bias, armed and funded by state and federal dollars, continue to go into our neighborhoods and execute people who look like me. We're not playing blind no more. What happened to Breonna Taylor was supposed to be the end of it. You have transgressed against the people in a way that there will be no solace, just like there is no solace for the family of Amir Locke. There is no solace for his mother. So no matter what we do today, no matter what we do in the next coming weeks, there will be no solace for the loss that has happened. Sheerly on the fault of the police. No knock warrants have to be banned across this country now, right now. We don't need no study session. We don't need no time to deliberate. That is gone, over. Lives are continually being eradicated. I'm supposed to believe that I'm free to do what? Am I free to sit in my living room and hope that a cop might not just feel like he wants to take my life and then nothing's gonna come of that? No, man. I refuse to accept that. So me and my comrades, we gonna get out here, we gonna fight, we gonna see you. I guarantee you, no matter how painful this is for me, I will use every bit of it. I roll with the people. And we say no more no knock warrants. I'm done.
Come on, X. All right.
I used to do news broadcasting. You don't stop recording.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to pretend that the camera is not currently recording.
Oh, don't start. Don't start. Stop it. Look at you.
Okay.
The shade.
Ron, you're gonna edit this out, right?
Yeah.
Just go for it. You're
Standing
good.
here, talking. Okay.
I can do that.
3, 2, 1. May God have mercy on my soul. Here we go. So here on my clipboard, I have a couple points of information that I think are very, very important to get at the heart of this issue. Over the last 3 years, in only one city of Minneapolis, Minnesota, there have been 3 highly publicized executions of black men in the streets and in their friends' apartments. And make no mistake, this is not just a problem in Minneapolis. This could be our community next. Because as far as the police unions are concerned, whether it be Derek Chauvin, the woman who forgot how to grab a taser, or the officers that barged into Amir Locke's home and shot him dead, these police unions do not think any one of those officers did a single fucking thing wrong. They followed their protocol exactly. My friend Ron here has a folder full of contact information for our local police union. Because if we want to get at the heart of this issue, those are the people that we need to contact. Those are the ones that the officers are held accountable to. Those are the ones that fund the politicians. So until we can get at the unions, we're not going to make any progress whatsoever. Now, while I'm very obviously left-wing and generally pro-union, police unions are a completely different beast. Here in Springfield, we have what is called a residency ordinance, which is a rule stating that whether you're a garbage man or an office worker, if you work for the city of Springfield, you must live in the city of Springfield. Unless you're a police officer, that is. So the man that has a gun, that he could point at you and shoot you dead, might not even live in the same city as you. Speaking of officers and firearms, I remember one night, about 1 a.m., I was walking home from a particularly bad day at work, and I saw an unmarked vehicle drive up right beside me and swerve about 10 feet, maybe, in front of where I was standing and walking towards. Now, given the neighborhood I live in, I was terrified that I might be about to get mugged. So I immediately went for the pocket knife that I had on me at the time, only to see emerge from that vehicle a fully armored police officer with his hand on his gun. I thank whatever forces are in control of this universe every single day that that officer did not notice that I had a knife before I was able to put it back in my pocket. Because if he had noticed that knife, there is a very good chance I wouldn't be speaking to you today. Now, let me put our current situation into context for everybody. Agents of the state are currently capable and actively engaging in executing citizens of the United States in their homes while they are sleeping without trial. That is a declaration of war against the citizens of this nation. So, while I acknowledge that it might be quite cold outside and that rain was quite frustrating, let me ask you all a question. How are you going to answer that declaration of war? Are you going to keep going to your 9 to 5, if you're lucky, or most likely your crappy minimum wage service job, and continue to pay taxes to the organization that doesn't care if you live or die, and in some cases is actively trying to kill you? Are you going to stay in your house and meaninglessly insult and degrade politicians on social media where only their secretaries or social media coordinators are ever even going to see it? Or are you going to get out into the streets, rain or shine, and keep fighting until we have achieved justice? That is my question to you. What matters more? Your temporary comfort or the life of your children? It's up to you to decide. Now, Before I go, I want to make something very clear to the cops, the police union bosses, and the politicians, and the rich bastards sitting in their mansions. We have not gone anywhere since the summer of 2020. And we're not gonna go anywhere until we have achieved justice.